He went to her parents and asked for her hand in marriage, and they agreed. A few weeks later, they got married and returned to the city together. When Chijioke heard that it was his brother's friend that married his girlfriend, he went and confronted his brother, but he was beaten and thrown out of the compound. In the heart of a small village, a man named Ikenna gave birth to 7 sons. The villagers rejoiced at the arrival of Anozie, Chijioke, Azuka, Eze, Chigozie, Azubike, and Chukwudi, each born with a unique destiny. Ikenna didn't know that his sons' lives would soon be tied together by love, jealousy, and forgiveness. Anozie, the eldest son, had always been driven by a fierce ambition. He built his business empire from scratch, using his cunning to secure deals with city manufacturers. He had a very big house and he was very successful. Yet, beneath the surface, Anozie's pride and envy boiled gently, fueled by a deep-seated need to outdo his brothers. His wife Nneoma and their 4 children lived in the shadow of his ego. Their lives were dictated by his relentless pursuit of wealth and status. Chijioke, the second son, had always been a gentle soul, content with living a simple life. Unlike his brother Anozie, he was a palm wine tapper and he found joy doing it. Despite his poverty, Chijioke's heart remained rich with kindness and compassion. He lived in a small hut, surrounded by trees and a small river behind the hut. He spent his days working tirelessly to make ends meet. Chijioke felt so empty because of his brother's neglect. He was always left out whenever his brothers were doing anything. He felt like a failure when compared to his brothers, and he often asked himself if anything was wrong with him. These thoughts and the villagers' comparison began to damage his confidence, and he always wondered if he was destined for a life of hiding in the shadows of his brothers. All of his brothers were doing very well, but none of them tried to help Chijioke. They all lived in the same village except for Azuka, who was based in the city. On several occasions, Chijioke had gone to meet them one after the other and asked them to help him, but they all refused. Disappointedly, he decided not to seek their help ever again. It was only their father who helped him, and after his death, Chijioke became alone. Chijioke was in love with Umma and he was planning to marry her, but he didn't have the means to. Her family had been pressuring her to get married and forget about Chijioke, but she had refused countless times because she didn't want to break Chijioke's heart. Umma was a very beautiful girl and she had lots of suitors coming for her hand in marriage, both rich and poor. Her parents were scared that she would chase all her suitors away and time wouldn't be on her side. So they told her she must marry the next man that comes to seek her hand in marriage, whether rich or poor. They didn't care. When Nman told Chijioke her parents' plans, he went to his brothers again and begged for their help. Just this once, brothers, please. I promise I'll repay you. I'll do anything. But Anozie's expression twisted in contempt. You think you can provide for Umma? You who can barely feed yourself? She deserves better than a poor struggling palm wine tapper. If you truly love her, you'll let her go. Otherwise, you'll only bring shame to our family. The brothers' laughter cut deep, and Chijioke felt his heart shatter into a million pieces. Azuka came home with one of his friends and business partner. When he saw Uma, he made his intention of marrying her known instantly. He went to her parents and asked for her hand in marriage, and they agreed. A few weeks later, they got married and returned to the city together. When Chijioke heard that it was his brother's friend that married his girlfriend, he went and confronted his brother, but he was beaten and thrown out of the compound. Chijioke was so angry and desperate that he wanted to make money by all means. He vowed that he would be wealthier than all his brothers combined and that they would come back and beg him. Out of shame and frustration, he packed his bags and left the village. He went to settle in another village very far from his brothers and started life there. He met Obianuju and they fell in love. Obianuju, a primary school teacher, had a passion for education. She was also a talented singer who led the village choir. Despite her bright smile and kind nature, Obianuju had faced her share of struggles. She had lost her mother at a young age and was raised by her father, a traditional healer. From him, she learned the value of hard work and the importance of giving back to the community. As a teacher, Obianuju was dedicated and patient, always willing to go the extra mile for her students. The villagers loved her because their kids spoke highly of her. Outside of school, Obianuju loved cooking. Her father always teased her that it was her meal that had kept him alive for so long, and they will often laugh about it. Obianuju's relationship with Chijioke was built on mutual respect and trust. She admired his kind heart, and despite being poor, he was very sincere, and he valued her intelligence and compassion. Together, they made a very strong team, supporting each other through life's ups and downs. Despite her family's warning that she didn't know Chijioke well enough, Obianuju couldn't help but be drawn to his kind and hardworking nature. She saw a bright future in him and believed that together they could build a happy life. Just a few months later, they decided to tie the knot. Chijioke, who was now a farmer, lived happily because he was far from his brothers and the constant comparison between him and his well-to-do brothers. 2 years later, Obianuju gave birth to Chisom and their joy knew no bounds. Chisom brought them so much joy and they loved her greatly. One morning, Chijioke went to his farm, and as he was digging, he dug out a big bag. He brought out the bag and it was filled with money. He was confused. He buried the bag and ran back home to call his wife Obianuju. When they arrived, Chijioke brought out the bag, and Obianuju told him that they should take the money home. She believed it was a blessing from the gods. After 7 days, with no one claiming the money, they decided to start a business so that if the owner appeared, they would be able to repay them and still have something left. A month later, Chijioke found more money scattered across the farm, but not in a bag just like before. He heard voices. He approached the people and asked if they had seen anyone in his farm. They said they didn't. He told them to follow him so they could see what he was talking about. Chijioke showed them the money, but they burst into laughter, thinking he was mad because they only saw cassava leaves. When they left, Chijioke hurried home terrified. Obianuju calmed him down and asked him to take her to the farm. When they got there, she screamed because the money was so much that even if they had 10 bags, they wouldn't be able to pack everything. Chijioke was relieved that at least he wasn't crazy. But why was it just him and Obianuju that could see the money? He questioned himself. Obianuju told him that they should pack as much as they could, believing it was a gift from the gods. It took them 3 days and 6 bags to pack all the money. They expanded their clothing shop. They had different shops. They increased the salaries of their staff and built a big house. Chijioke continues to find money on the farm monthly, but he was worried about the source and duration. The villagers gossiped and questioned the source of their wealth because they knew when Chijioke came to the village he had nothing, and it was impossible to make such wealth from farming. They told the king that he was up to something because he was always carrying bags from the farm and they were not sure that it was farm produce that was inside the bags. The king intervened, asking Chijioke to give up the farm, but he politely told the king that the farm was the first thing he acquired since he moved to the village and he wouldn't just want to give it away now that he had money. He would allow the villagers to farm on it, but he should be allowed to visit monthly and the villagers agreed. One day, while Chijioke was at the farm, some villagers stopped him and asked to see the content of his bag. He said it was grass for his animals, but they didn't believe him. They seized the bag thinking they would find something implicating. So, they asked Chijioke to go home so that they could search the bag. Chijioke was consumed with his thoughts because he didn't know how he would explain the money to the villagers. Nobody would believe that the bag was always waiting for him at the farm. When Chijioke got home, he explained to Obianuju about what transpired between him and the villagers. She too was concerned because they didn't know the source of the money, but she told him to remain calm, reminding him that it was just the both of them that could see the money. What if they see it this time? He asked her. Obianuju didn't know what else to say, so she told him that they should pray to the gods to protect them since she believed the money was a gift from the gods, maybe a reward for their hard work. A few days later, the villagers returned the bag they had taken from Chijioke and apologized for their false accusations. He accepted their apology, and after they left, he opened the bag and the money was still intact. However, he kept wondering how it was possible that it was only himself and his wife that could see the money. He told her his concern and she told him that she was worried too, but she wouldn't dwell on the misery. Instead, she suggested they enjoy the blessing. Chijioke agreed and decided to focus on the present. Obianuju gave birth to another child shortly after and it was a girl too. They named her Obiageli. They threw a very big naming ceremony and all the villagers were in attendance. They had lots of foods to eat and lots of drinks to drink. They went home with several gifts too. Months later, Chijioke visited a friend who lived near his shop. As they chatted, he saw a familiar face and asked his friend who it was. The friend explained that the man was a new tenant who had just moved in, having lost everything including his family. Chijioke was concerned, feeling like he knew the person. As they talked, the man came out again and to Chijioke's surprise, it was his brother Anozie. Thank you for watching. I would love to hear your opinion on this video in the comment section, and please don't forget to like and share this video. You can also support me by subscribing to my channel and turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my updates. Thank you. Bye.